This one's quite cool. What time is it? Do you have questions now? Or should I go?
5 to 12.
Okay, I'm going to do that in a few minutes and then we can do some questions. This I'm really quite proud of this one actually. I just did this quite recently. Again, I did some film. It's a shame you can't see it, but maybe I'll have one more
We'll
try.
try and do it during 5 minutes.
Okay, so I can show you all the films to these images. So this is a Nike working with a designer called Jun Takakushi, I believe his name is. This guy has a brand called Undercover, and they're like a very cool high-end street brand. And he's a Japanese designer, and he was discovered by the company called Gasson. He's within the kind of fashion world. He's a very credible, cool designer because he's authentic. He makes these really beautiful fabrics. So he had the ability to work with Nike with their high-tech fabric and create a really kind of cool street brand called the Gyatso Running Foundation. That's what he's. And basically, this is him, and these are his mates, and they run every day. So it's very authentic. He created this brand from his passion for running, and that's why it's perfect for some company like Nike because it's authentic. You know, and it creates, it's a bit fashion, but it actually runs from the street because he's a cool character within the fashion world, and he's an authentic runner. He runs 25k a day. So my idea was, okay, what are we going to do to create this collaboration between these two brands? So we came up with this idea of him running Tokyo. It's like a 24-hour endurance trial. So I had to go to, again, very difficult shoot. I had to go to Tokyo and in one day shoot the films. I shot 2 actually, and a 16-page advertorial for this magazine, Pop, that organised the shoot, and then all the other images that we'd use online for this. So what I would do basically, again, I went for digital, so that I could work quite quickly, because when you shoot Polaroids, I haven't got time to wait 1 minute for the Polaroid, So it's like, pull me out, I can see it, move on. So again, it's the technology works for the moment. If you have time in the studio and you can kind of look at a Polaroid, that's great. But if you don't, you've got to work with that. So again, I was on the back of a truck, shooting vehicle, and I'd have my DP with me and I would shoot the stills. So I'd be shooting the stills at the same time and he'd be rolling digital motion. And so he'd have a monitor, so I'd keep an eye on what he was doing with the monitor, and I'd be like, no, getting a bit closer, at the same time I'd shoot. So, working 2 things at the same time. It was 35-degree humidity. It was so freaking hot. I don't know how these guys survived. And we basically just ran the streets of Tokyo, going to all these different locations, we'd shoot. And you'd have to make the decision, have I got it? Can I move on? One take, have I got it? Yeah, okay. So you have to deliberate between getting a really good take, really good shots, and getting enough footage to create a story. So as soon as you think you've got something, you move on. If you spend too long, you run out of time. So, you work it out before a lot of pre-production. Right, we're going to be in this spot for 45 minutes. Right, it's going to be a 15-minute move. Okay, it's going to be 10 minutes setup. So in a way you're balancing quality with quantity. How long can I... You could spend 3 hours in one location and still get the same. A lot better, but so much better that people are going to notice? Maybe not. So you give up a bit of quality to get quantity in order to have enough for your story. So that is the judgment of a photographer, a director on the time you've got to go, right, you know what, I think I've got this. So you have to know from experience whether you've got something or not. So what I did here, which you can't see very well, it's all bleached out, but I kind of came up with this concept. So basically, you're seeing the product, but they're on the run. So there's a kind of, what was working, see, what I did, which I thought was actually quite smart, was because it's quite hard to shoot people running from the back of a truck. I set up somewhere in the middle of Tokyo. I was like, right, for 4 hours we're going to set up a studio. At night, when I can't shoot, when there's no daylight. So at 6 o'clock, we're like, right, or 8 o'clock, whenever it was a long shoot. It was tall. It was from 7 in the morning to 1 at night. So we went through nighttime stuff too. It's a 24-hour endurance with the idea. So you have to shoot day and night. And so what I did is I got a running machine. So here he was running, so to have a really authentic, you can see, there's a real focus in him. Because he is actually running, but it put me in a situation where I could actually light it quite nicely. And within the context of the actual real running shots, no one knows. So, you break it down and go, there are little techniques you use, things that you learn. Okay, well I can do that in the studio, no one will know. There's just ways of kind of tricking people. And in a way you are. What you're doing is you use whatever techniques you can to create the illusion of what it is you want to give. Even if the illusion is truth, if it's real truth you're after, then you have to get rid of everything and really get into the truth of what that person is or what that shot is. But even that, you're making a decision, an edit, a choice, an angle. You're always editing. So whatever it is, to me, it's an interpretation of what your idea is. So if you allow yourself, okay, whatever tools I need to create what I want to do, the game's open. You can do whatever you like, and no rules to it. As long as the end result, people go, people are going to go, oh, he's on a running machine. No one knows that. There's still movements in there. And so what I did here was when I was in Tokyo, I photographed all these out-focused neon lights, and I superimposed them afterwards. So this is 2 images sandwiched together. And what it gives you, and so there's a bit of smoke in the background of this. So what I did is I was on the running machine, I put some smoke in the background, backlit it, so there's a kind of mystery, you don't know quite where it is. You hardly even see the smoke, but it just picks up light, and you can't see the background so well. And then I superimposed it with these neon out-focused lights. And what we do there is you create a kind of a slightly mysterious image that's also aesthetically pleasing, but at the same time, you get to see the detail of the product. But I'm not overselling the product, because again, it's like people don't want to be like, oversold something. They want to discover it in their own way. So that's what I'm hopefully doing. People will be going, oh, that looks really interesting. The image looks good, and they'll follow up by interpreting. The same thing here.